Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to 8-Bit Chazzy, the segment on this channel where I review games, and I have been doing a lot more of these lately. Well, not lately, this is actually my second one since coming back to YouTube, but I'm going to be trying to prioritize more 8-Bit Chazzies because I have a lot of games that I play and want to talk about, not necessarily that I play on YouTube, but I just want to, I don't know, there are just a lot of games in my library here in my brain that I want to talk about, and I have done so many reviews of movies and TV shows and other stuff, that I want to try to do more gaming content here. So, this is the first or second. I actually reviewed another game before this, but it's going to be the let's say the first few of many 8-Bit Chazzy videos that I'm going to be doing in a short period of time. So let's get into today's one, okay? I'm going to be talking about a very incredible game called Firewatch, and this is honestly one of the best games I have ever played in my entire life for a number of different reasons. It has an amazing story, just beautiful, drop-dead gorgeous visuals, like rather likable characters. They're very easy to relate to because the game is very grounded in realism. It's very down to earth. No pun intended, because you play like in a forest, so there's a lot of earth all around you and whatnot, But basically, there is a very rich story, but I'm not going to be discussing too much of the plot because it's going to take very long. It's a pretty long game. I actually had to play it with a guide because it takes a while to get it done if you play it by yourself. If you want to, that's totally fine. Go ahead and do it, Matter of fact, I'm going to, if you have never seen anybody play this game, and if you can't play it yourself, if you don't have access to it now, go watch Markiplier play it here. I'm going to leave the full playlist up here because that is, like, honestly, probably one of, if not the best gaming YouTuber on the platform, and he played through that game so perfectly, so elegantly. I love that playthrough so much, But basically, the story follows Henry, the playable character, who is what's the term? A fire watcher? No, he's a fire lookout, who works in the Shosho National Forest, and the story actually takes place 1 year after the Yellowstone fires of 1988, which really did happen in real life. You can look it up. And about a month or so after he starts working, strange things start to happen, which he has to unravel with his supervisor Delilah, who is basically the sole character who he can communicate with, or rather you, the player, can communicate with in the game with a walkie-talkie, and it's one of those games that offers you different dialogue options, so you can choose what you say to her, and depending on what you say and how you say it, it's going to be, the story will be conducted in a different way, very similar to the Telltale games, or even Mass Effect. But in this case here, it's not that the story itself changes, it's the way that the character dynamics play out, So your relationship with Delilah will be different depending on how you react towards her, how you behave towards her. You can be a complete douche, a very cold bastard, or you can actually be sympathetic and friendly, which is what I chose to be most of the time. Whenever I play games that give me choices, I always like to be the good guy. I don't want to be the asshole that everybody goes on to hate later. So, I was a very chill dude, and I kind of had to be, for Henry's sake, because something really tragic happened to him before the game officially begins. But I'm going to be getting into that in a little bit. Let's take a look at some gameplay here, huh?
Hello, Two Forks Tower.
Hello? Whoever this is?
It's Henry, right?
Yeah.
I'm Delilah.
So, what should I do now? What's next?
What's next is you sit in that room until September 1st and call me at the first sign of smoke.
Looks amazing, huh? Looks amazing. The entire game environment was actually, created from a single painting by Ali Moss, who was actually one of the directors of the game, and it just looks amazing, playing through the game. Watching it on YouTube, of course, does not do it the justice that it deserves. Actually playing the game, especially on a big-ass TV like mine, I nearly cried, man. Especially during the day when you see the huge sprawling sunny environment, but also at night when the sun starts to set, and you see everything just looking so pristine and perfect, it's just I really know that there was an overlying mystery to happen, but it still made me feel like, man, what tragedy could possibly befall such an amazing place like this, But anyway, so the story starts off with Henry's wife developing early onset dementia back in like the spring of 1989, you know, and that's what actually drives him to take the job as a fire lookout. I forgot how old he is. I think he's like in his 50s, as well as Delilah. So I guess maybe he couldn't take his wife not remembering him anymore, so he wanted to get away. I can't remember if she dies. I'm not sure if she is alive or dead in the timeline. I completely forgot, but I just know that he feels the need to get away, you know, from that whole thing. So that's when he goes and takes a job and meets Delilah. Now, the thing with the game is that it's played from first person and you can explore freely. However, different areas will open up as the game progresses. It's not like they open up. It's not like they're necessarily closed or anything, but nothing is going to happen if you go to these places before, because like the real fun part, the fun factor about Firewatch is going to explore the places that you and Delilah uncover as you play the game, you know? So maybe like she'll say, so yeah, I heard about something that was happening in a ravine somewhere, like I don't know, a few like northwest of the watchtower, the fire tower. So then you can go northwest and find the ravine and see what's going on, you know? If you happen to go there before, I don't really know if anything is gonna happen. I actually didn't explore it that way. I played the game using a guide, so I completed it in a very linear fashion. I didn't really go exploring too much. And as it goes on and on, you actually discover more and more details about an overlying mystery, like this really big and mysterious cover-up that happened some time ago. When exactly was it? Let me see if I can remember. I have a little cheat sheet here. Okay, so years before that, you know, there was a little conspiracy that happened that some people were trying to cover up, you know. Like the game gives you a lot of clues, like little breadcrumbs to follow, so you can actually piece the mystery together, you know. Now, by the time I played the game, I already knew what happened because I had already watched Markiplier play before. So, but it was still it was very impactful. Me myself going through it, you know. I actually thought it was really awesome. So, like, to me, it was a surreal experience, you know, and the game handles very well, you know. It's very simple, very easy to pick up and play, very intuitive controls, you know. There's nothing really complicated about it, and there are no elements of horror. However, there are a few tinges of suspense here and there, because if you're playing the game for the first time, you have no idea what's gonna happen, right? You don't know what's going down, you don't know what to expect, and everything that the game gives you, all of the details, the character dialogue, you know, everything that is presented to you, you know, is like, it's suggested that it's building towards a horror experience, you know. Like, you do legitimately think it's a horror game and there's going to be a twist that's going to, you know, get you and Delilah killed, you know, and that is what I was expecting the first time that I experienced it, you know. Before actually playing it, I watched Markiplier do it. So, but the thing is that when you actually start to play and you're there and you are the one communicating with Delilah day and night for multiple days, you know, you really start to get wrapped up into it, man, you know. Like, there are some details that even though you expect something to happen, something else does, and that is just an amazing nod to detail there in the art direction team, you know, because you look at this amazing huge environment where anything can happen, so you're always on your guard, you know. You're an old man who doesn't really move too fast and you just want this job to get away from your wife, so whatever happens, you're probably not going to be too prepared for it. And I'm going to talk a little bit about more of the plot details now, so before that, let's watch another little bit of gameplay here.
So, what's wrong with you?
Excuse me?
People take this job to get away from something. So, what's wrong?
Everything's fine, just getting some fresh air.
Well, escaping isn't always something bad.
I will never get tired of how gorgeous that game looks, man. I got all of the achievements on Xbox. I beat it completely, you know. Got all of the items, the different. There's only one ending, right? But I would probably still play it again one day just to see the environment, you know. I just love it so much. So, like, giving you a basic rundown of the plot now, there was a lookout, a Vietnam War veteran named Ned who was working as a fire lookout, and he took his son with him one day, you know, even though it's prohibited for employees to do so. But apparently his son was trying to climb a rock, you know, a wall, but because of his very limited experience doing that, he actually fell and died, you know. And then Ned was overcome with guilt, you know, and as the story goes on, we start to piece together this information, because at one point Henry goes exploring, you know. We actually do find two girls making fireworks go off, which is I guess prohibited, you know. So Henry goes to chase them. He finds their campsite, but also he finds a few other different things, you know. He finds miscellaneous items strewn about, you know, and there's also this mysterious figure following him from the shadows. At one point, this same figure we presume is the one that sets fire to his camp, you know, to draw him out, and he starts trying to impersonate Henry and talk to Delilah, you know. So both of the characters are really on edge at this point, you know, because of all these random things happening. But as Henry investigates more, you start to see that there's actually a lot more than what we see on the surface, you know. There are transcripts of their conversations, you know, Henry and Delilah, which is, you are led to believe that somebody is spying on both of you. They're listening to your conversations on the walkie-talkie, you know, on a different wavelength. So you find this entire place filled with incriminating evidence, you know. And then Henry finds a little, what the hell was it, like a little cave, you know. Somebody locks him in there. When I say Henry, I mean you, the playable, the one who's playing as him, you know. And then you finally find Brian, who is the son of Ned. You find his body, who's like pretty much a skeleton at this point, you know, and broken climbing gear. So the kid tried to climb and fell, and Ned never went to retrieve his body. So he actually does confess, you know, and it's kind of strange because even though all of the details come back into place now, it's still very strange for Delilah because, you know, she was led to believe that one thing happened and now everything was just flipped on its head, you know. And it's really interesting how the final act works, you know. Like there's an evacuation order that's put out so Henry and Delilah can leave, you know. We tried to do a few things, like the game gives you the option to, Henry throws out the option with Delilah to destroy the camp and all of the surveillance equipment and all of the incriminating evidence, you know. But in the end, I guess we just decide to go because a fire breaks out, you know. As true to the name of the game, Firewatch, a huge fire breaks out in the final act, you know, and you and Delilah have to flee. And it's kind of funny because Delilah has been your companion throughout the entire game, and you think, well, finally you're gonna get a chance to meet her, you know. I really wanted to see Delilah in the flesh, and then you guys are actually going to meet up, you know, because throughout the game, depending on the dialogue options that you choose with Delilah, you can actually sort of have a flirtatious kind of thing with her, you know. You can pretty much essentially flirt directly with her and she flirts back with you, so there is a connection. The game itself plays out over the course of several months, you know, that you're there on your job before you leave. So then after all of this, after this relationship that builds up to a crescendo, you finally go to meet Delilah so you can both leave together, and she's not there. You go all the way to her tower. She said she was gonna wait for you, but then she didn't. She already evacuated. I'm guessing the game developers didn't have enough in the budget to make another character, you know? But I do, of course, understand that it was just to give a little element of suspense there, to give us false hope, you know? I really wanted to meet Delilah. I wanted Henry to see her in person, you know? But eventually they both just evacuated in separate helicopters, you know? And at least they both got out safe. They do still talk, they keep in contact. I do believe they plan on visiting one another if they're ever in the same area, you know? So yeah, it was a very satisfying conclusion, man. It was really nice. The story gets a little confusing. I tried to kind of narrate what I remember. I do have a little bit of a cheat sheet here, you know, but there's really not much of it. You know, that's pretty much what happened, you know? Yeah, pretty much it. Those are the main characters and kind of the main conflicts of the game. Let's take a look at another little clip here before I ultimately finish. Put out the fire.
Someone broke in.
They what?
They wrecked the place. Threw my typewriter out the window.
Do you have any idea who would have done this? Henry, I've been at this job for 13 years, and nothing like this has ever happened before.
Maybe I'm just losing my mind.
Now, this game was developed and published by Campo Santo in partnership with Panic, you know, and it garnered a lot of critical acclaim. It was very well praised for the story, characters, dialogue, visual style, you know, but it did have some criticism directed towards the technical issues and also the ending. I guess it wasn't really well received by anyone, you know. I can understand that you're disappointed when you play because you don't get to finally meet Delilah, but at the same time, I really don't think it hampered the game in any way. I actually think it was really, really enjoyable in my opinion, you know, and as far as technical issues go, I can't recall a single one. I can't recall a single... Okay, well, here's one. Shut the hell up! Among other accolades, it took home the award for Best Indie Game at the 2016 Golden Joystick Awards, you know, and it actually garnered quite a few different awards, you know, in 2016 and 2017. And by the end, like not really the end, but like climbing towards the end of 2016, it had already sold over 1 million copies, you know. So this game really was well received, man. It really was well received, and I actually think that it really deserved all of the praise that it got, you know, because oh my god, sorry, I kicked the camera there. I think are we good? What we okay here? What So I personally feel like this game really deserves a lot more love, you know, because 1 million copies is very little, and I know that a lot of YouTubers have played it to try to boost the sales, you know, and the legacy and talk about it, and like what I'm doing now, we're reviewing it, you know. I did want to play it on my channel, I did try to record a video, but for some reason it wasn't working. The game was actually, I think that right now maybe it's buggy on the Xbox, because whenever I try to play it just freezes and takes me back to the dashboard, so I just gave up on it. But maybe that's for the best, because I don't even know how I would play this game. Like, what would I do? I would explore for a little bit, then I don't know, it's really hard to play a game like this for a little bit of time, you know. I would really want to keep playing, you know. But overall, dude, if I had to give this game a rating, like, honestly, brother, 10 out of 10. Perfect, like 10 out of 10. Like, don't even have to think about it, because there's nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with the game, you know, because like when I really stop to really think about it, it is just a perfect experience, you know. The story is really good, the characters, the dynamics between them, the development, you know, of their relationship is just stellar, you know. The environments are just fantastic, you know, and the soundtrack, the music, everything is incredible. The atmosphere, the themes, you know, and the story, even though the story isn't exactly like, I mean, okay, it's cool, it's great, it's not like a fantastic Steven Spielberg-esque screenplay, but it is still really awesome, you know, and I liked it a lot. And a lot of people might have been disappointed by the ending, but I personally wasn't, you know. I actually think it was actually really interesting, the risk that the developers took in like making you expect that you're going to meet the other character, but then you don't, you know. The relationship that you form that builds up with Delilah over the course of the several months that happen in the game, I think that is really hard to beat, you know. This is legitimately one of the best games I have ever played in my life, indie or otherwise. So a shout out here to Campo, Santo, and Panic, the developers behind this thing, you know, and I honestly hope that you guys make a lot more, you know, very similar to Annapurna Interactive. You guys make some really amazing games, and these are the kinds of games that are really pushing the boundaries of gaming today and in making video games be seen as an art form, you know, which I think is awesome. And that's it for now, guys. I think that this video has gotten way too long already, you know, a few technical issues in the video that I'm gonna have to fix in post, you know, but I think that's pretty much it. If you have played this game before, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it, and if you didn't, well, hopefully the spoilers that I gave you aren't going to turn you away from it, because it's still really enjoyable. So let me know, and if you happen to like this review, go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel, because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, do hit the notification bell too to know exactly what time I upload. And that's it for now, guys. There's fire on the horizon, so I gotta go. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Put out that outro screen. Okay, enough fire puns. I'm done.
I need you to feel safe out here.
Well, I sure don't now.
You will. I promise.